Hey everyone, welcome back to the Cheer Chronicles. It's your host, Rosie. You all know me, all two of you. I see you. So we are back, you guys. We took a quick week's vacation and just took some time with family to recharge and reset. Every once in a while, we need that. It was really busy. I didn't get to really reset or recharge. It was so busy. I need a vacation from my vacation. But in the meantime, we have been busy putting this episode together. And by we, I mean my husband, Phil, who does all the work behind the scenes. And so you guys, our next episode is Coach Bella. We love Coach Bella. She is so enthusiastic, and she's one of those coaches, when you see her coaching, she just makes you want to get up and do the routine, which is crazy, even if you're like a parent. That's the energy she brings. So you guys, this is her 5th season as a choreographer. She's a member of the Glam Squad, and she's mentioned to us how she has been so very blessed to meet so many of the most amazing people and mentors in the cheerleading industry. She also coaches at Top Gun All-Stars, Southwest Florida. And as a choreographer, she has won Youth Summit, Regional Summit, Cheer Sport, and All-Star Worlds. And as a coach, she's won 3 silvers and 1 gold medal at All-Star Worlds. Her favorite part about choreography is bringing so many athletes of different backgrounds together and making something beautiful. She looks forward to creating so many wonderful memories with you all as a choreographer and as a coach. So here is our episode with Coach Bella. Shout out to Coach Bella and her Glam Squad. Thanks for being on the episode.
Come on, y'all.
Hey, and here we go.
Welcome to the Cheer Chronicles podcast with Rosie.
Welcome back to the Cheer Chronicles podcast. It's me, your host, Rosie, and we are here with a super talented Coach Bella. Coach Bella is a choreographer for cheerleading, and we are going to ask her some questions today and also do our send-off round. So let's get right to it. Welcome.
Thank you.
To the Cheer Chronicles podcast. Are you ready? First question.
Oh, yes. We're ready.
All right. So how did you first get into choreography for cheerleading? Can you share your background and experience in choreography?
I started doing choreography a little over 4 years ago. So this would be my 5th season doing choreo. It really wasn't like a throw-in kind of thing. It was just kind of like a spur of the moment. Somebody who is very close to me, he's a family friend, he's like family, asked me to go on him to a job, and I was like, oh yeah, sure, let's do it. So I went and I watched and I put in my 2 cents, and now fast forward here 4 years later, I'm still doing it. About 2 years ago, I joined a company called Big Red Choreography Glam Squad. Mm-hmm. So I've been doing that for 2.5 seasons, and I love it so much.
That's a lot of fun. What does that entail?
What do you mean?
The choreography with the Glam Squad.
It doesn't really entail anything. Basically, they just do everything for me. So if I had a client and I didn't want to do most of the travel stuff and the payment, it all happens through them. And then we do a lot of group work together, which is really, really nice when you're doing choreography, having another brain there to bounce off of, to talk to, another person in your corner. We're very, very family-like. We're a small little company. There's only a handful of us. So we're very family-oriented, and we trust each other and stuff like that. So it's very, very nice to have the people that we have in our group, because it makes your job easier when you don't feel like everything's on you and you're all alone.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
It is very cool.
And they kind of take care of all the stuff. You just show up and you're ready.
Yes, that's literally it.
That works out. Okay, next question. What is your creative process like when you're choreographing a new routine? Where do you get your inspiration from?
So the inspiration, most of the time, the inspiration just kind of comes to you. I always make jokes where I'm like, yeah, I dreamt this, because that's what it feels like. When you get inspiration, it just pops in your head. A lot of other times when you're watching Cheer so much throughout the season, if your Instagram looks like mine, where it's just nothing but routine reels, we'll see things and we'll kind of just make it a folder in our brain to be like, oh wow, that was cool, I want to play with that, make it different, use it, whatever. Something that we do in our business is we do a retreat every single year, and we meet at Cheer Express. Shout out Cheer Express. They're great. And we just play with the kids. We do stuff that, we didn't try last season, different things. We literally just go crazy with the kids and play with them on different levels, different skills, different transitional elements and dances and formations. Like literally anything you can think of, it happens at Cheer Express for like 2 days. Trying to work on 3 because those kids are great. Yeah. So it's like you just throw it at them and they're like, okay. You could be saying the most random thing. I want you to dip on this count and do this and do this, and they're like, okay, and they do it. It's crazy. But yeah, so inspiration literally just comes from your head most of the time, and other times it's like things that you've seen that you're like, oh wow, like I remember seeing this way back and I want to try it or I want to make it different. So
yeah, I have a whole folder. You don't know this, but I have a whole folder of when you do my choreography for my teams.
Do you?
I'm just going to bring up a bunch of stuff and be like, I want to do this. I want to do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and literally like people will have like these folders is what I like to call them, folders, and they'll tell me and I'm like, okay, yeah. And then I take their children, I just do it. And they're like, I can't. I was like, I know what I told you to do, but I don't know how you did that. And I'm like, I don't know. It just happens.
And Cheer Express, we saw them at that comp.
The first comp of the season.
They're amazing.
They're so good.
Level 3. I don't know the name of the team, but oh my god.
They're so good.
Yeah.
They last season they had 2 level 3s, Bomb Squad and Bombshells.
I don't know
amazing.
who we went up against, but
Junior 3?
Yeah.
Bombshells.
Amazing.
So good.
I can't.
My favorite is their Junior 2 Red Rain. Coach Kenzie loves Red Rain.
We'll have to watch. Shout out to them.
Yes.
Okay, so do you choreograph only all-star routines?
No.
I know the answer to that.
You do know the answer to that. No, I do school routines. I didn't start doing school routines actually until last season when I started doing ECS with you. And no, it's definitely different. But it's like a refresh because the score sheets are way different than all-star routines. It's like a refresh, and it's different, but it's fun. So I do the competitive for school and halftime and homecoming and pep rallies and stuff like that.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun.
No, it is a lot of fun. The kids look at me like I'm crazy half the time, but it's okay.
Well, and sometimes I do too, because I'm like, we're probably not going to be able to do that.
And I'm like, no, I have faith. Always. I have so much faith in you.
We can do it. Okay, so how do you put together choreography that not only looks visually impressive, but also maximizes the scoring potential?
So the biggest thing with choreography is you have to know the different score sheets. For All-Star, the main ones are varsity and open. You have to know the different score sheets because they're so different, sort of. They're sort of different, they're kind of similar, but for the most part, there's things on one score sheet that you don't necessarily need on the other score sheet, but if you put it on the other score sheet, then you get more points, but not really, but you do. So that's what it is like. So you don't want a routine to feel like chopped up. You want everything to flow. You kind of want to look at a routine and be like, whoa, when did they get there? How did they get there? When did that happen? Let me replay that and see. And there you see something and you're like, you get distracted because you're watching something else, and then those girls pop up again. You're like, whoa. Well, how do they get there? You just want it to look seamless. You want the transitions to just flow together. You don't want it to look like we paused the routine and then restart it again. Like start it up again and press play. So the best way to do that is literally going with the flow. Don't make things feel forced. If something feels forced, then it's in the wrong spot. So that's why when you see routines, you see so many different orders of things. You're seeing the same things, but it's in different orders, it's in different formations and stuff like that, because you just go with the flow. You go, it feels right. You're like in a section, you're like, oh, I really want to do jumps next, but jumps don't work. Something else works, and you just have to go with it. So yeah, but knowing the score sheet is very, very important. The open score sheet is super subjective, and a lot of it is flash and creativity that scores on the open score sheet. So knowing the difference between the two score sheets is super important.
So can you describe the different segments of a routine? And this is for, I know you're probably like, this question, this answer, but this is for people who might be watching who don't know a lot about cheer routines.
So you want me to explain?
Yeah, just like the different segments.
So there's stunts. Usually there's different stunt sections. So there's an elite stunt and then what people call the second elite. and the elite stunt has most of your skills in it, and the second elite might have like 1 or 2 skills in it most of the time. Then there's baskets, which is in a whole different section itself. You need baskets on level 1, but it's called show and goes and not baskets. But you need on every other level. And then there's tumbling. You have standing and running tumbling. On one score sheet, you need more tumbling than on another score sheet. But on the score sheets, if you do more than what you need, then you get more points.
Right.
So at our gym, we do 2 and 2, but we don't need them, but we do them because you get more points if you do more. Then I think I said jumps. No, There's jumps, and then pyramid, which is my favorite part of the routine. I love pyramids. Pyramid, which is all stunts all together, big, just, I don't know what you want to call it. Like you're throwing up, and it's a pyramid. That's what it is. And then there's dance. And I think that's it. I think I did all of them. And then dance, which is my second favorite. I love dance.
Yeah, I love the dance too.
The dance is always like the finale. It's just...
And the pyramid is like the finale of stunts.
I love pyramid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, those things, it gets to be a lot for sure.
It is. It's a lot on the kids.
Yeah. And especially the pyramid. Because it's towards the end of the routine.
Yes.
And they're all tired.
I know my favorite pyramids, and I know you're going to love this. Senior Elite, they have some good pyramids. I knew you were... Shout out to Senior Elite.
Shout out to Senior Elite. I've probably been talking about Senior Elite at every podcast.
They have really good pyramids.
Yeah.
Really good pyramids. They're crazy. Just everything happening.
And to watch them live, how we had the opportunity to do, and watch those girls reload in the back.
Just jumping in
like a
blindly.
Machine. Like a machine.
I know.
It was amazing.
Yeah. I think at my retreat, we counted how many transitional elements they do. It's like 23, I think is what we counted, 23. Just 23 flips and tricks and skills in their pyramid. And you do not need that many, but they do it. And it looks so good. Just blindly flipping each other.
Yeah, I think their music this year really put them over the top.
They were really good. They're a really good team.
Yeah, they were good. You know, I got a chance to speak to some of the parents.
Did you?
For a while. Yeah.
How were they? Were they really nice?
They were amazing. Oh. And they told me the schedule of the athletes and how long they've been cheering and all the hours they've put in. Like, even when we saw them in North Carolina, that Sunday after the competition, they had to go back and they had practice for 3 hours, and just all the things that they do together, how they bond.
Yeah, well, you have to. A team that big. And, like, it's just constantly, like, moving pieces. You want everyone to love each other. It's literally a sisterhood. That is their motto.
And trust each other.
Exactly, and trust each other.
Yeah. So, speaking of music, what role does music selection play in your choreography process?
Well, motions, hairography, the moments in the routine that you see. Like, there's a team last year. It was World Cup Shooting Stars, and they do, like, right in the beginning of the routine, they do, like, the step tap. Literally, like, you could teach it to, like, the babies. But in the music went along with the motions, and it just was one of those things. It just made it a moment. Yeah. Music makes things look better. If you watch a routine without music, which you sometimes have to do on varsity TV because of copyright, you can see, like, a lot more imperfections. And then you watch it with music and you're, like, distracted by the noise and by the background music and stuff like that, and the lyrics, and, you know, the little jabs at other teams. Yeah. That's my favorite part.
Me too.
I love when they come out with music and it's, like, things, and it's, like, has something to do with the other team, and I'm like, oh, that's shady. That's my favorite part.
It's fun, though. I mean, it's all in good fun.
It is. Because, because, like, a lot of those teams are, like, actually friends with each other, and they're like, did you know in our music? And they're like, yeah, but did you know in our music? And I'm like, could you imagine if we had, like, a rival?
Oh, goodness. I think we do. So how do you balance making a routine difficult enough to impress while also keeping it achievable for the team skill level?
You have to be very, very transparent with the coaches, the gym owners, even the athletes. Like, if it's not something they're capable of doing, then you have to be honest with them. So, like, sometimes you'll go to a job and these coaches will have all of these dreams of things, and then their children line up and do something, and I'm like, we got to be a little bit more realistic. You want to be competitive, you want to do well. But then there's other programs where they do that and they're like, no, we just want the kids to have fun. And I'm like, okay, great. If you're not wanting to be competitive, if you're not wanting to do what you need to do, then I can give you the routine that you're asking for, within limits, of course. But one of my favorite questions to ask is, can you coach this? Is this coachable? Mm-hmm. Because sometimes it's things that the kids can probably handle, but the coaches can't coach.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I mean, that it is what it is. But so that's my favorite question to ask. Is this coachable? Can you teach this? Like, are we able to do this? And a lot of times they'll be like, yes. Other times they're like, no, not really. I really don't think Sally Sue is ready for emotion of that, maturity level or whatever. So, yeah, that's literally it. Just being transparent is very important in choreography.
One of the things that I love working with you, and we work alongside for months and months.
Oh, yeah.
Is when you take your shoes off and you're like, let me show you how to hold this grip. This is what we're doing here, Sally Sue.
Because you would think, because a lot of the times, to me.
But it helps us coaches,
exactly.
too, because I'm like, there it is.
Yep, that's the one. Because a lot of the times when you think things are just, like, simple, it's not. Like, these kids have, like, especially during choreography, like, these kids they're nervous. Yeah. I'm nervous, especially if I've never met them before. I'm nervous. The gym owners are nervous putting a choreographer in their program and trusting them with their kids. Yeah. The coaches are nervous because, like, oh, so-and-so is a little rough. I don't want her to, like, mess up the choreography for the whole team. The kids are nervous. They never met you before, if they never met you before. And so everyone's a nervous wreck. So you want to make sure that you're being patient and, giving them the tools to make them successful, especially before you just, like, do something and it doesn't look good and you're like, no, we're not doing it. And I'm like, I don't do that because I'm like, we'll do it a couple more times. I need to see what it looks like. Coaches, can you coach this? If I ask you for a video next week, will it be cleaned up? So, like, that's, that's why I take my shoes off. Because I'm like, here, take my shoe. And I do it now. And I tell the kids all the time, I'm like, sorry if it smells like cheese, but I need you to do the grip right.
Having the grip is most important.
Exactly.
So are there any specific stunts or tumbling you want to highlight depending on the level?
So, yes and no. I mean, it definitely depends on, obviously, the program that I'm working with. But, like, if I know I'm going to go do a level 3 routine, I'm going to be like, oh, I really hope they have front handspring, front tucks because I want to use that somewhere. Or if I'm going to do a level 1 team, I'm like, oh, I really hope their kids are flexible because, level 1 nowadays, we got to be contortionists to be competitive. So, no, yeah. So there's not really, but there is at the same time. Like, there's things that are in my head that I'm like, I haven't yet used this season. I kind of want to see how it goes with this program. I hope they have this. But not usually is there anything that I'm like, I really want to highlight this unless I have seen them do it before. And I'm like, oh, that girl has a really beautiful back extension roll. I want to utilize it on whatever level. Back extension roll to tuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know.
Exactly.
So how do you assess the skill level of a team if you've never met the team? Don't just get there and quickly assess everyone. Like, how do you figure that out? Especially because what if you go in with a team of 30 girls or 30 kids and you're like, okay, what are we doing here?
Right.
How long does that take though? Because you don't want to take like a long time doing that if you have choreo.
No. Yeah. So with the company, thank goodness for them, they have all the gyms that we work with fill out a pre-choreo sheet that has the number of kids on the team, if they have girls, if they have how many boys they have, if they have any boys. Their numbers are on this sheet. Like if they have 30 kids, their numbers for how many stunts they need are on there. Their numbers for how much tumbling they need is on there, jumpers, all that. So they have that already on the sheet. The coaches go in and fill it out.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, they tell us what skills they've worked on before, what they want in their routine, what if they have a theme. So that's very helpful. And then another thing I do is when I go in there, after introducing myself and making sure that the children know who I am, I just tell them to go play with some tumbling. Go tumble, go stunt. Just do something. I want to see what it looks like. Yeah. Like I want to see, that girl over there with the orange bow. She has beautiful back handsprings. I want her to be in the front later whenever I get to that section. Or, wow, they just did a really beautiful 360 switch up. I want to utilize that somewhere else. So that's, and I think a lot of the choreographers in our company do that. Is literally one, we have the sheet, which is super, super thankful. And I don't have to do anything to get the sheet. It's all through the business. It just gets sent to me. And I'm like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
And then we all go in there and we're like, hey, I'm so-and-so. Go tumble.
Yeah.
Go tumble. Go just do something with your bodies. Warm up. Do whatever you got to do. And that's very, very helpful. So,
Well, that's good.
it's not blind. That's a good thing.
That's good. Yeah. So, how will you accommodate varying skill levels within a team? Which I feel like sometimes my teams have. Like, you have girls that are like level 4, and then we're doing a forward roll.
Those are motioners. Those are the girls that are going to give me life. So, one thing I like to note is that if they're on a team, a level 4 team, and they have a forward roll, they're there for a reason.
Yeah.
So they're either beast stunters, they got beautiful jumps, they're a great teammate, they can dance, whatever, they're there for something. And if tumbling is not their thing and we're in tumbling section, whatever their strong point is, I'm using it. So we can do a co-ed stunt in the back, but this boy can't tumble. Fine, we're putting that girl up. Or, you know, she is like a great performer, but she doesn't have a back handspring. Fine, she's about to be performing her little butt off in the front of this formation right now. So I go into it thinking in my head, because it's so easy to point at a kid and be like, yeah, go nugget in the back.
I know.
So easy.
And I don't like that either. I feel like everyone should have some sort of part in the routine.
Yes, exactly. Because they're there for a reason. They're there for a reason. You wouldn't just put them on there for no reason. So I like to go into it thinking, no nuggets, no belly hugs, no nuggets, no belly hugs. And so I'll make something of whatever it is. Even if she's not the best performer, we're going to be doing motions in the back of the formation, not in the front, in the back. But at least they're doing something. And it also helps the visual of the routine when there's like fillers around. And it's not just, we're doing back handsprings, then we're doing jumps, then we're doing stunts. We're doing back handsprings, but they're motioning. Oh, wait, those girls left. Where'd they go? Oh, wait, they're over there. They're doing a tumbling pass. Yeah. So that's very, very nice to have too, is, you know, the mindset of not making a kid a nugget or a bellyache. Because it's easy to do it.
Yeah, it is.
But it doesn't look good.
It does not at all. So, how, in your opinion, has choreography evolved over the years as cheerleading has grown more athletically and, you know, it's become so intense? You know, I was watching at Worlds, cheerleading Worlds, not All-Star Worlds. Don't come for me because people get so offended.
They do.
They get so offended. So, you know, we saw these older teams like Team USA and all those teams from those countries, and their choreography was like military-like.
Yeah.
So we don't see that. You know, we're constantly, like you said, we're constantly moving and things like that. So how do you feel that has evolved over the years?
So this was actually when I saw this question, I was like, this is an interesting question to ask. What a good question, because I'm so young. So I'm like, I don't know. But, so I feel like, I'm going to go back to the retreat with the company that we do. Every time we do the retreat, we always have a night where we sit on the couch and we literally just watch old cheer videos. And it's like crazy to think of like things that we do on level 3 now were like elite on level 6 like less than 10 years ago. It's just crazy because like we ask so much of these kids now, but before it wasn't like that. And of course things have to get harder, like things always evolve and stuff like that. But it's very impressive because when I think of things that I did when I was an athlete, and it wasn't that long ago, and then I think of when I'm asking my kids now, and I'm like, wow, gotta cut them some slack because this is hard. This is hard stuff. So
I know you have your team now doing something that I'm literally watching from the bay door. Shout out to the bay door baddie.
The bay door
and I'm like, oh my god, that's a lot.
It is a lot.
It is a lot for that level.
It is. It's a lot for that level. There's things that like we do, and it's just, and that's why we teach it so early in the summer, because I'm like, I need them to work on this all year long.
They'll get it by March.
No, there's things that like that you would have not seen 10 years ago. And if you did, you wouldn't have seen it like look good.
Right.
But yeah, cheer has evolved a lot, and I like to watch old videos and see things. But like even like the teams that I loved to watch when I was a kid, and I'm like, wow, we did a skill and now we're motioning for 2 8 counts. We don't do that now. No motions for 2 8 counts.
I feel like even when I cheered, like routines were fast, but nothing like now.
Nothing like now. Nothing.
Yeah.
I was literally like, one specific was they did like a straight up liberty at extension and then turned to the quarter and then did like a scorpion, and the crowd was going crazy. And I'm like, no.
Level 1 team.
Oh God.
That's what they're doing.
The crowd was screaming for them, and I'm like, It's level 3. I said, it's not even elite level 3 now. It's like basic level appropriate.
Yeah, it has evolved very, very much. I just feel that those routines that I saw at Worlds, and it wasn't all the teams, obviously, but yeah, they look so military-like.
Yeah, but it is like military-like, because even when you're watching like the colleges, they don't look like that. Like not watching like Navarro and Trinity Valley and stuff like that, they don't look military-like USA. But I think that also goes with their theme.
It does, but also the other, like Australia looked like that to me, and the other countries did too. Yeah. That's why I don't know. It's a different
score sheet
maybe,
for the global divisions or the international division. I don't know what division USA is.
Maybe international, yeah.
Maybe, but
okay. Yeah. So, next question. What are some of the biggest choreography trends you're seeing in cheerleading right now?
Level 1, the tippy toe TikToks.
Tippy toe TikToks.
You know when they do like TikTok to TikTok
to
TikTok
yes,
TikTok.
yes.
Yes, that is a trend right now. And some teams can do it very, very well. And some teams can't do it that well, but you don't get credit for it after one time. You go 1 and 1 and that's it. And that's all you get credit for. It doesn't matter if you do it 7 times.
But it looks good.
It does look good.
I feel like Top Gun UK. Shout out to them.
They're so good. They're so good.
Level 1 team.
They're so good. They do the tippy toe TikToks. They're so good. Also, hairography is another trend going on right now. Like the big poofs have always been a thing.
Yeah.
But lately, they've been like just going crazy with the hairography. And I love hairography. I'm all for that trend. Love it. And
I just don't know how do you get, like, it's a lot to clean up.
What? Hairography? It is, because you want everyone to look the same, and the one girl that doesn't have the ponytail and this girl has the ponytail and stuff like that. Yeah. It is a lot to clean up, but it looks good in the big picture.
Yeah.
When you watch a little section, it might not look that great, but if you step back and you watch the whole thing, that's like sometimes I go outside and stand on the bleachers and I watch a routine.
It's a whole different scene out there.
It is.
When you watch, yeah.
Yeah, you see things that you don't see up close, especially with like poles in your way.
Yeah.
And speakers. And then also the less skills and more transitional elements. So like not doing 8 million skills in your stunts and just doing the amount you need plus 1 or 2, and then doing more motions and more movement and doing below level things that's below your levels. Like if you're level 4, doing a level 3 thing. But because it looks cool. It looked cool, but it's level 3.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, seeing that, and then the contortionist stuff on level 1 that we keep seeing. Every year gets crazier and crazier. Borderline illegal, but it's not illegal, just borderline.
So, what is your philosophy when it comes to creating and teaching routines?
Patience.
Yeah.
Patience. Literally, that's it. I couldn't imagine how I was as an athlete getting taught choreography. Probably awful. Shout out to Jennifer Cooper. I was probably awful. But no, patience. You need patience, because you'll go into a program and you'll do choreography for them and it won't look good when you leave. But you have to have patience with the children when you're teaching it, because you don't want to take something away from them because it doesn't look good when you taught it 30 seconds ago, because it's not going to look good. And I think that also comes from being a coach, is because I'll be coaching something for 2 weeks and it not look good until the 3rd week.
Yeah.
But it's about patience. So I can't do choreography and expect it to look good in 30 seconds. If with my teams, I give them 2 weeks to learn something. Yeah. So being a coach definitely helps with choreography and being realistic and being patient with the kids.
Okay. What strategies do you use to handle anxiety or nerves?
Like for competitions?
Yeah.
Positivity, trusting the athlete, and reassurance. There's only so much you can say to a kid with, anxiety and having nerves before they go on stage that's going to help. And it's not much at all. They're going to have it, even if you tell them a million times, you're going to do fine. They're still going to be like, but what if I do this, and what if I do this, and what if I... Like, it's always going to happen to them. So just being positive and being reassuring and, trusting them with it. Because the worst thing you can do is change something backstage or water something down backstage, because that is just going to make it 10 times worse. You have to trust them and be like, oh, you just hit it on that mat. You're worried about it now, but you just hit it and like, oh yeah, well my finger wasn't in the right spot. And it's like, okay, I trust you. And that literally goes such a long way for them. Something that we did last year with my teams is we did not talk to them after they got off the last mat at all. Not a single word to the children.
Why?
We did it for the first 3 competitions, and it made them very, very nervous to have us tell them. It sounds weird. Have us tell them that we believe in them, that we know we can do it, made them nervous.
Oh.
So we did not speak to them. They literally got off the last mat, and it was, okay, go get a sip of water and go, line up behind the curtain.
Nothing.
Their co-coach talked to them. Yeah, and after we stopped talking to them, they started hitting at competitions.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you know what team I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just something that we knew, and we didn't even talk to each other. Like, the coaches usually do like their like coaches circle, and they hug and stuff like that. We didn't do that either. It was just like a superstition that we had, that we felt like they did better if we didn't go up to them and say, hey, we believe in you, we know you can do this, try your best.
Yeah.
It literally just made them more nervous. So if we said nothing to them, even if the last mat was absolutely horrible, if we said nothing to them, they did so much better.
Well, yeah, I mean, you never know.
But it's
You
different
gotta
for all
accommodate,
teams.
yeah.
Because my other teams last year, I had to talk to them, and I had to pull the flyers out and had a flyer conversation with them to give them the reassurance and the positivity and to let them know that I trusted them. So it's different for all teams. But yeah, just I've never had a team before that I couldn't talk to. It's hard, but
I know, I can't imagine, because I always like to go right before and just go one by one.
Yeah.
And just say, hey, remember this. Hey, don't forget this. Like, this is your job. And that's how I control my anxiety as a coach. Like, I'm like, remember this. And
I'm like, no, because literally, like, the last mat, they could fall in every single thing that went up in the air. And I just had to not show them that I was nervous. It was so hard. And my co-coach, shout out to Coach Gianna, kept me together all season because she's like, they got this. And I'm like, yeah, but she just like fell backstage. She's like, they got this. So yeah, it's hard.
It is hard, for sure. So how do you provide feedback during the learning process?
I ask a lot of questions to the kids. When you're with somebody new, even like the kids I coach now, like, asking questions makes them nervous because they think it might be a silly question or a dumb question. So I ask the silly questions and the dumb questions. Like, if I do something, even if I know what I did, I'll be like, what did I just do? And they'd be like, oh, you did this. And I'm like, oh, thank you so much, you're great. I forgot. So I ask the silly questions to make them feel comfortable with asking questions, because the worst thing you can do is be confused and not ask a question, because then you're going to mess it up and mess it up and mess it up and mess it up. And it's never going to get better because you never asked the question. And then you get yelled at because you didn't do it right. And you should have asked the question. So I asked the question. And that's how I provide feedback.
So how do you handle disagreements or conflicts within the team?
As the choreographer?
Yeah.
I don't. It's the coach's job. It's not mine.
What about? Because you've asked me before, because I know you're very intuitive too. Like, you want to, and you want to make sure that the client is happy.
Yes.
And even though we've been past choreography, it'll be something that's not hitting and we need to kind of switch it up. And you're like, Coach, do you like this? Why do you look like that? You don't like it? I'm like, I'm just tired. It's like 6 p.m.
Oh, yeah.
These kids aren't hitting and we need to go home. But yeah, how do you figure that all out, even when you're, like, let's say not choreography, right? Because you don't really have to deal, but as a coach, or, when you're helping other teams just throughout their season, and maybe a coach and a captain are like not seeing eye to eye.
Right.
So how do you handle that?
So coaching, on the coaching side of it, conflicts on the team, I always ask for the parents to go directly to the coach if it's something that's happening at practice. If it's something that's happening outside of practice, there's nothing I can do except ensure that the children are nice to each other during practice.
Right.
If it's something that carries into practice, then obviously, like, the coaches get involved, and if it doesn't get better, then Buckley gets involved, and, so on and so forth. But if you build a safe space where the children feel like they can speak to you and confide in you in the very beginning, then it makes things run so much smoother. Because it could literally be as silly as, so-and-so pulled my hair and it was on accident, but they don't know because, I don't know, before this they were at Chick-fil-A and they got in a fight. Who knows? So-and-so pulled my hair, and then I pull so-and-so, hey, someone thought you pulled their hair. Is that on purpose? No, it was an accident. Okay, fine. We figure it out. But if you don't build that relationship with the children and creating a safe environment for them where they feel like they can talk to you and that they're not scared of you all the time, then the conflicts will rise and the parents will get into it, and then it just doesn't make the season fun anymore. It like makes it feel like a job. And even though it is a job, you don't want it to feel like a job. You want it to feel fun. You want it to feel like something that's different than what you have to do outside of the gym.
Right.
So that's how I deal with that as a coach. As a choreographer, I really don't. I don't have to. If a coach and a gym owner is having a disagreement on a routine, I always go with the gym owner's decision usually. But if the gym owner doesn't seem like they know what they're talking about, then I go with the coach's decision. And usually what happens is she'll be like, oh, I want this. And the other person will be like, yeah, but I really want this. And I'm like, okay, well, let's make it work. Let's do it. Let's do both.
Yeah.
Let's figure out how to conjoin both of your ideas into one. But if it's something like way out of the box, like I want the pyramid to be in the beginning of the routine, but I want it to be in the end of the routine, then it's like, okay, guys, we gotta find a common ground here. And then I'll usually make the decision that I think is best. Like after watching the kids do a couple passes or stunt, and I'm like, oh, their stunting is rough, we should do the pyramid sooner. Or if their stunting's really good, like, I trust them to do it later. You know, so.
Well, that's good.
You have to make the decision sometimes, being the choreographer, because that's what they do, is they tell you what they want, and then they look at you and you're like okay, well, doing whatever you want me to do. And they're like, well, you just pick. And I'm like, perfect, I will pick then.
So what advice would you give to coaches or athletes for cleaning and perfecting choreography? How do you incorporate feedback from the team and coaching staff?
Being honest, being realistic, and transparency. I said it earlier, being transparent, telling me if it's something that you can handle or can't handle. But the biggest one is being honest. I really like to reach out to the programs that I work with throughout the season. Most of us go back for cleanup. Sometimes a different choreographer from our company will go back to the program you choreographed to clean it up, which is like, it happens all the time. It happens with schedules. But I ask, after I do choreo, I ask 2 weeks later, I say, hey, how's it going? Anything that, you feel like isn't going to work, you need to be changed, or there's a dead spot somewhere that you found or whatever, because, we're human, we forget things all the time. So, so I always ask questions. I keep in touch with them. I ask for videos often throughout the season. Show me what you have, show me what you're working on, things like that. Being very, very vocal in communication with the coaches and gym owners. And then obviously at choreo, it's like the Bermuda Triangle. It's just crazy. You don't know what happens there, and then you leave and you're like, wow, I don't even remember any of that experience. Yeah. There's some times where I'll go. It's
just so much going on.
There is. It's so much going on. It's a lot of pressure too.
Yeah. I mean, I've never choreographed anything but that fight song for game day that one time. But yeah, I can't imagine. And that's the thing too, not only with choreographers and also with coaches, is that you have to know everyone's parts, all the counts for everyone.
That's what they say, but I really try to remember, but it's really hard.
It is.
I always look back at the kids and I'm like, what did I just do? they're like, I think you did something like this. And sometimes they'll remember, and sometimes I don't remember, and they don't remember. And then I'm like, well, I guess we're not doing it anymore. It might have been really good, but I don't remember it. So
we're going to start all over.
Exactly.
So are you open to adjustments if certain elements aren't working well?
Yes, always. Yeah. I never want to leave a job feeling like I gave them something that was too hard or too easy. So I'm always open to adjustments. If they message me like a day later and they're like, you gave us this, but after sleeping on it, I don't think it's going to work. And I'm like, fine, I will send you something else. And it always helps that I'm a coach. So I'll literally pull children, text their parents, hey, can you come in? Bring so-and-so in, and I'll do whatever I need for my clients with my kids that are at the gym. And it works just fine for me.
Right, and then you send them a video so they see it. Yeah.
Exactly. Or I'll do it. They'll get videos all the time of me doing motions. I'd be like, so this is after the jump section. So-and-so's back here. So-and-so's back here. This is for her. And all the time. All the time.
I know you've helped us send in stuff to legalities so that we know we're right on point.
We love legalities.
That's a whole
That was the
podcast.
competition. That was the competition that you were like, we need another jump. We need another basket. And I'm like, right here. Put it right there.
What are some of the most challenging types of skills elements to choreograph, in your opinion?
Level 1.
Is it?
Level 1 is so hard. I know that's so like surprising people, but level 1 is so hard. Because it's like everyone's doing the same thing. And there's so many things that have been done before that you see a million times and you don't want to see them again because it's just another team doing it. And you're like, I just saw that from 2 teams before you. And especially as a judge, like you want them to feel like it's fun and fresh. And the other part of that is everything cool that's not illegal has already been used. So now you're doing things that are not illegal, but one wrong head movement and it becomes illegal.
Yeah.
And it's that's the biggest difference.
I love when you come up to me and you're like, I know I'm not with your team today, but that's illegal. I just saw it from over there. We're right here. We didn't see it.
That was
She's
the
letting go of her
elementary
hand.
girls.
That's illegal.
I'm like, yeah. Just wanted to let you know.
You know, what's crazy is that Judge Mimi says the most difficult level for her to judge is level 1.
Because it's all the same. Everyone's doing the same thing. Everyone's going to do a back walk over switch leg. Everyone is going to do a TikTok at prep level and below. Everyone's going to do the quarter up to prep. But how can you make it different? And that's just the transitional elements that happen before it or after it of emotions or whatever. But a lot of the times you'll see teams do things and you're like, how is that legal? And you have to zoom in on every specific person and be like, oh my God, I would have never thought of something like that because it's so borderline that this girl could have literally moved her head like this and it made it illegal.
Oh, wow.
And you had to trust the children weren't going to do that in the spur of the moment.
Yeah.
Do this with their head. And I'm like, I could not imagine. It's so scary.
Level 1, and it's a big division.
It is. And visuals are really hard to make on all levels. Just making things visually appealing that look different, that look fun and fresh and things like that. Things that you don't want to see. Because you would hate to like leave a job and then open up your Instagram and then you see exactly what you did and you're like, interesting.
I thought it was unique.
Exactly.
So how do you ensure your choreography highlights the strengths of particular athletes or stunt groups? We kind of touched on that.
We did. Formations and utilization of every person in a section and level changes. And that's literally like those are like the main things that choreographers do to highlight people is formations and level changes and utilization of the floor and people and, you know, doing things that you wouldn't have thought to do and it just kind of happened. Like, I'm going to go back to Cheer Express because they're just so good. Cheer Express Junior 2 Red Rain, their choreographer, Jennifer, the one who owns this company, did like this like jump over like these straddle legs. We'll have to pull up the video after this. Jump over these straddle legs to the front of the floor in a ripple and did like a bounder out of it. And it was like, what were you like, how? And she's like, I don't know, I just play with things. And I'm like, I aspire to be like you.
We'll have to look that up.
Oh, you will love them.
Can you share a particularly memorable or funny story from choreography for a specific team?
Yes. So, this one wasn't hard whenever I saw the question. It wasn't hard to think of because I haven't been doing choreo for long, so it's not like I have like this abundance of stories. Of course, there's funny ones, but you don't ever remember the funny stories exactly how they go. That's what makes them funny. Because every time you tell them, they change. There was one specific program that I worked with last season that they were a small gym that came, like, they came from another gym, a bigger gym, and then they broke off into a small gym. And the children were like traumatized from choreography. The choreographers that the old gym had were like not nice choreographers, very degrading and belittling and stuff like that. So they were very, very nervous. And I had no idea of any of this stuff. Like, we got the sheets and all that, but they didn't share that with me at all. So my first day going in, and when I first go into choreography, my number one thing that I'm going to do is smile. No matter if I'm stressed, if I just cried my entire way here, I'm going to smile because I want the kids to feel, I want them to feel like a sense of relief. Like this person doesn't come in with a mean mug because I can have one of those. But I just smile, like a really big, silly smile. I laugh, I walk in, I say hello, I greet everybody as soon as you walk in the door. So this specific program, I did all that, and the kids, you can just see in their eyes that they were just like, they were like pale as ghosts, just super scared. And after we finished with choreography, it was a great choreo session. The kids were laughing, they were playing, they were, just whatever. I'm getting ready to leave them, and I'm like, thanking them for trusting me with their kids and their program, and they have a beautiful facility, and I love what they're doing here. Then they tell me the story about the kids having traumatic experiences and them like being so scared to meet me because they didn't want me to be mean. And I was like, and the coaches were like in tears because their kids had opened up to me. And like there was one little specific girl that doesn't like when people touch her, and she let me do her hair. And I didn't know any of this stuff because the kids were just like, they were just there for me. Like they were just kids. And so she let me do her hair. And the coach was like literally like in tears telling me this, and I'm like, oh, my heart. But I could never imagine like being like one of the choreographers that go to a program and make the kids hate cheer. Never. So that was a very, very memorable, touching story.
Yeah. So what's the most rewarding part of being a choreographer?
Meeting kids of all different backgrounds and different stories and seeing the final product. Because when you spend time with the kids, most of the time the choreography happens, not like us, where like we get it in September. Most of the time it happens like June or July. So these kids just got their teams. They've only been together maybe a couple weeks.
They don't know each other.
They don't know each other. Yeah. They barely know each other's names. So seeing them from choreography and then going to these end of season events and watching them perform their little hearts out on stage and watching the coaches in the front of the floor. Because a lot of the times when I'm watching a program that I choreograph for, I watch the kids, but I also like watch the coaches. So I'm like, I want to see their reaction, and they're like crying because they spent the last 11 months working just for this moment, for these kids to perform their heart out, doing what they love and having fun and stuff like that. And it's just, that's the best part for me, is watching the children at the end of the season, watching the coaches, and just meeting all these kids of different backgrounds and different stories and, different who's, what's, and whys all coming together and doing this one thing that everyone loves, which is cheerleading. So it's very, 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 very rewarding as a choreographer to watch that.
Wow. I never thought of that.
I know. I
I didn't think of
a lot of the things that like I get are things that like people have told me before. So like Jennifer, again, love Jennifer. She watched me last year at Worlds watching my teams, and she told me, she was like, I just knew they were doing good without looking at them because I was watching you. Yeah. And I was like, and then she of course hyped my teams up because she literally at the retreat, she was like, can we just watch the mini bombers? We're watching SSX and Senior Elite, and she's like, can we just put on the mini bombers? And I'm like,
the mini bombers who won All-Star Worlds.
Yeah.
I predicted that. You know about that story?
I know. I saw. Well, after you commented that, I went back and looked for that comment because I remember seeing it, and the coach in me, I was just chuckling. I'm like, oh, okay.
I don't know why I had that dream.
I had a dream too, and it didn't go like that.
I had a dream that they were gonna win Worlds, All-Star Worlds, and I don't know. I did tell the parents. I'm like, just so you know, I had this dream yesterday. It was like in the middle of the season, like nowhere near.
No, it literally was like 6 weeks before Worlds is when I think your comment was. Because I was like, wow, Rosie.
And I have those dreams often.
Do you?
Yeah.
That's the coach in you.
All right, are we ready?
Nervous. I'm so nervous. I'm not ready. No, not we. Are you ready?
Are we ready?
Is Phil ready to edit all these out?
Are we ready for the send-off round? No?
As ready as we'll ever be.
All right, here we go. Ready?
Yes.
First question. What is your favorite level to choreograph?
2.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 1.
No, I just talked a bunch about 1 being so hard. 2. 2. Back handsprings are, like, so clean. Like, they're such a crisp skill. Yeah. Back walkovers are crisp in a way, but back handsprings are just crisp. And it's one of those skills that all look the same. Level 3, tucks might be different heights. Arms might look a little different just by length and height of the children. Level 4, same thing. Yeah. Layouts are beautiful. Love long leg layouts, but what about those short little girls? Level 5, fulls can look different based on the way that you twist. Back handsprings, it's all the same.
That's true.
That's why it's my favorite, because it's all the same. It's either good or it's not, because it doesn't matter what leg you tumble on for standing back handsprings. It doesn't matter what leg you tumble on, because it's going to look like hers over there too. Yeah. So that's why it's my favorite.
Okay. All right, next question in the send-off round. What's one thing you wish everyone knew about choreography in terms of cheerleading?
Seat rolls. Please.
Oh my God. Those are...
please have a seat roll.
They're so confusing.
They're not they're only confusing if you let them be confusing. I've seen kids go down and do exactly what I tell them to do, and I'm like, okay, do it by yourself, and they do it completely different. And I'm like, so one thing I do before choreography, and I did it with my teams last year, was we spent, you remember, 30 minutes at the end of a practice, instead of conditioning, doing seat rolls. Because they need to be beautiful for the choreographers. They need to be. I will not accept bad seat rolls.
I know, last year you did that with my middle school team.
I
were
did.
like, we're all doing seat rolls before choreography.
We are.
And it takes them, some of them, it takes
It takes a minute. They have to sleep on it. They have to sleep on it and come back and they're like, I got my seat roll. And I'm like, yes, show me that seat roll.
And they look so amazing though.
They do, especially when you utilize them in big groups. Like Pellets did it 2 years ago. They did seat rolls and they were mini level 1 doing seat rolls.
Yeah.
It sounds so simple, but for 20 of them to do it all together, it was very impressive because seat rolls are no joke sometimes.
Shout out to the Pellets. They're amazing.
Love the Pellies.
Okay, what was it difficult to go from an athlete to coaching and doing choreography for cheer?
Yes and no. No, because I listened very intently when I was an athlete to the coaches and to what they were saying and how to treat people. And yes, because it was hard to separate what I used to do and how I was an athlete to how kids are now.
Yeah.
For instance, a lot of kids struggle with anxiety and, mental issues and stuff like that. And I did not have that as a kid. I don't even think that existed when I was an athlete. And if it existed, the kids didn't say they had it.
Right.
But now that's a thing. And it's a very normal thing. And it's a very, you see it all the time, which is fine. I mean, it is what it is. But so having to separate that when coming from an athlete to being a coach and having to understand and listen to the kids and, get them to open up to you and feel comfortable and stuff like that. Because when I was an athlete, I talked all the time. I talked about everything all the time. And now kids don't do that. And then it has you thinking like, oh, are they okay? Are they okay? And sometimes they're just quiet. But I didn't ever experience that. So it is definitely hard. And something I never struggled with was like relationships and stuff like that, was setting boundaries. I've always done well with setting boundaries in relationships with the athletes, like not being besties with them.
Right.
Loving them and telling them I love them and caring about them, but not being their best friend. Like for me at least, some coaches are okay with that and that's cool. But for me, there's a very fine, drawn out line of where you're an athlete and I love you so much and I care about you and I want you to do well and I'm your best friend and tell me all about your school boyfriends because I don't want to hear about it. Very, very strong line.
Yeah. I think sometimes I struggle with that too because a lot of the athletes I have, I'm friends with their parents.
Yeah.
And so they think that, we're just going to be friends here at practice. And I get it a lot. I've gotten it from the parents and from the athletes who see me outside of practice. They're like, you're like a different person, because I tell them all the time, I'm not really here to be your friend.
Right.
And again, I care about you. I want you to be successful.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing my job if I'm just sitting here, like, laughing with you. Like, we're here. I have a job. My job is to coach you. I'm not being mean. I'm not being super strict. But we also want to win because, let's be honest, I'm all about the winning.
I'm sore loser over here, so.
So I let them know, like, we're not here. I mean, we might have a conversation and they always tell about all the fun things going on.
All the things. But then there's a line and then they sometimes they'll get a little far and I'm like, okay, and 5, 6, 7.
And we're back.
Yeah, and we're back.
Okay, next question. During competitions, are you more nervous now as a coach or were you more nervous as an athlete?
Oh, no, I'm more nervous now as a coach because as an athlete, it's me.
Right.
And what I do. As a
you're
coach.
in control of that.
And I'm in control of the situation. As a coach, I have to trust my 15 7 through 11-year-olds to do what they've been taught to do, and that is so hard. So hard, especially when it literally takes one thing and it all just comes crashing down, and then they're a ball of mess, and then they get off the floor and you have to console them. It is so much harder being a coach than it is an athlete, but I love it more than being an athlete. I would never go back to being an athlete. I love being a coach.
Yeah, I have to say that, and I don't know if this happens to people in general that coach, but for those 2 minutes and 30 seconds, there's probably half of the time that I'm kind of blacked out. Is it just me?
No.
I literally am there and I'm screaming and I know what's going on, but it is like an out of body experience.
It is.
And when you have, and a lot of the times, because I'm also a parent, when something goes wrong with the team, the parents are like, why aren't the coaches still hyped up? Because your heart is in your stomach.
It is.
Your entire season has just gone right before your eyes. And it is hard, where my assistant coach last year at Nationals literally was like, coach, and the routine was still going on. And then it's like I came back.
Oh, when the mishap happened.
Yeah.
What a sad moment. But
it is sad. And then people don't know, but as coaches, you motivate the team after, like, we did so good. And sometimes you're so proud because you do have a mishap. Right. And these kids think quick on their feet. They save it, or they try and, fix it, and they continue. Because, my gosh, how hard is it to know, like, we are failing, but we have to continue doing
especially at the end of season comps, because it's like, we just fell, we're not going to win, but we still have to perform like we're going to win. That is hard, especially for children. Like, it's so hard, because I can't imagine doing that now. Like you said, like, you freeze at the front of the floor. So they can't do that. They cannot freeze, but you freeze because you're watching them, and they're distraught because they just did something that it probably never happened before.
It never happens. Why is that? It never happens.
It's like...
And I try and prepare my teams, like, in the middle, I won't tell them, and in the middle of the season, I'll start doing crazy things, like I turn off the lights.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
You swear. Oh, you might see that happen this season. Bullet Babes might get the lights turned out on them.
I turn off the lights, like, and obviously it's during the daytime, so there's still some light coming in, but I prepare, especially the elementary kids, because...
Turn the music off.
We turn the music off. What do? There's instances where one year, Mia's shoe came off. What do? Like, we keep going. So I try and tell them, like, you keep going. Well, I start running around the mat like a crazy... What do you do?
Running through formations. Because that's going to happen at competition.
You never know. I try and prepare them. But yeah, and the things that happen at comp don't happen ever. Why?
I know. Isn't that awful? Well, because literally I remember for specifically mini bombers, there was a practice that we had for our pyramid, because, oh my God, that pyramid just, competition after competition just kept coming down. And we literally had a practice where we were like, okay, Kinley, fall. Fall down in your bases, arms, bases, catcher. I need to see these side groups still do their job. Like, we had to do that kind of stuff because it was like, we need to be prepared for anything. And there was a competition where one side of the pyramid fell, but the middle girl had to still go up. And because we spent time at practice teaching them how to continue going on, and pyramids are hard to continue if someone's falling. Continue going on. They hit it, and it was very nerve-wracking for them. You could see it all over their face, and they're like, and I'm like, you guys just hit without a whole side of the pyramid. I'm so proud of you. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, Coach Bell, but we're going to lose. And I'm like, you are. Did they lose? No, because they never lost. But it was just teaching them that. And no, like you said, there are things that happen at competition that just never happen at practice.
Why?
Well, it happened to me at Worlds too, with rifles. When they dropped the flat back. Level 1, they dropped the flat back. And it never had happened before, but it happened. It happened. And it's one of those things that you like watch it happen, and you're like, I would have never thought to drill that because I've never struggled in it before. So
we try.
It's life.
Them.
It is life.
It is. And it's happens. So, like, as a coach, well, you've seen me cry at practice.
Yeah.
A few times during the season. I'll just burst out crying because I'm so frustrated.
You're frustrated, but you have to, like, continue drilling them because you don't want to show your frustration.
And what's crazy too is motivating the parents, which I never thought I would have to do. If your team doesn't hit, sometimes I end up motivating obviously my athletes, but then I end up motivating the parents. Like they're like, oh my God, coach. And I'm like, it's okay. We did this right. We'll get the points here. We're so proud. And then I go back to my room and I cry.
That's okay. It happens to the best of us.
So what would be the ultimate team we would want to choreograph a routine for?
How did I know this was going to be a question?
Really?
I did. I literally was sitting on my bed writing my answers, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a question, I'm sure of it. One team or one program?
One team. One team.
Cheer Extreme SSX.
Really?
Oh, I love SSX. They're my favorite team. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
No, my favorite team.
What's your favorite Worlds team?
They're a Worlds team.
I know, but do you have another one?
No.
No. So you would want to choreograph them. They're your favorite.
Yep. They are the end all be all. If I can choreograph Cheer Extreme SSX one day, I'll have lived. That's what I'm going to say. No, yeah. I just love that entire program. Their lower levels. They're so good.
Yeah.
They're so good. But no, that is my favorite team. If I had to pick another World team that was my favorite, would be Cheer Athletics Panthers.
Oh, for real.
They're so good too.
They are. That's it. That's the podcast.
That was all your questions?
That was, I only do 5 questions in the send-off round.
Really?
I had 6 for you because I asked you about the Worlds team.
Oh, you did. But I said a World team. Should I pick a lower level team?
No. I like that you had your team. Stick with them.
Yeah.
Good, bad, and the ugly. We're going to stick with them. All right, so we're so thankful that Coach Bella came onto the podcast today to join us and talk about all things choreography. Thank you guys for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe our channel. That's it.